Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Coin Toss. This may or may not be the final version that we're doing for a while. Effectively, with everything that's going on, market's super busy, and the fact that the crypto market is pretty much quiet in its downtrend, in its bear market, there's not a real lot to report. But today we are going to go through a couple of things. One, I'm going to talk about some of the coins that is probably your best investments if you get there, and where a possible bottom for Bitcoin's price will go. We're also going to talk about silver and what it's doing, and why is there a difference between the paper market and the real world assets. So yeah, and apology for yesterday. I was out to it for probably about 14 hours. I was asleep, so my apologies on that. So ended up being tonight instead. And the other thing that I was going to talk about was USD coins or stable coins. So that's our three main subjects for tonight as we go through here. Just say hello to Margot and the Silver Fox. How are you? Good evening, Vince. A day late and $1 short. Yeah, many dollars short. Most of us that are in cryptos are lots of dollars short at the moment, due to the fact that everything in crypto seems to have taken a dive. And, well, what's the cause of that? That's a good question. Most of it's because of the bear market, the 4-year cycle, as happens in each 4-year cycle. But more to the point, is crypto still a viable way to make some money? And to be honest, we won't know that for another couple of years. But where we choose to put our money is going to be very, very important. Very important indeed. So let's start off firstly with where everything is heading in the current marketplace. So right now, the big narrative is AI, and it's going to be AI for a while. We can see AI's use. You've got your Grok, you've got your Claw, you've got ChatGPT, etc. All very, very beautiful, good tools for doing research with, which is fantastic in that respect. But a lot of people are going to start using AI agents to start working out to do the everyday tasks. Like, not only do we use it for research, but they're going to start booking meals and handling your calendars and all that sort of stuff. So there's a big move to this AI agent area. So how is AI agents going to be able to use the blockchain? Well, in a lot of cases, AI agents are going to need to pay for things like reservations and bits and pieces like that. So hence, that's where the blockchain will come in, because the AI agents will be able to talk to the blockchain, use wallets that are on the blockchain to make these payments, because an AI agent can't really access your bank, not unless you give them the credentials to do so, and you probably don't want to do that. So in this area, AI agents is going to be a very, very big thing over the next 3 to 4 years without a problem at all. And it's going to put a lot of people out of work. That's the downside of that, unfortunately. The upside of AI agents is that any particular agents that are going to use blockchains are going to use stable coins. And this is where we get into stable coins. What is the purpose of stable coins? How do you make money out of stable coins? Well, in some places, you can stake your stable coins and earn an interest like you would off a bank. The other part about stable coins is it's the way that crypto can be moved around and in a recognized form that's going to be concurrent across all the platforms. And that's where the stable coin comes into it. So when you say, if you wanted to purchase a car or a house or something in DeFi, they're going to not just use a particular coin that's going to evaluate up and down in price. They're going to use stable coins that are guaranteed to a fixed dollar amount. So that's the purpose of stable coins. And what you need to be really cautious about here, though, is which stable coin you use. There was one that came out in 2022 as a stable coin that ended up going bust, and obviously everything in that particular stable coin, those people that had those stable coins lost their money. So you want to make sure that one that you've got is one that is properly regulated, which is where the Clarity Act is coming into that, where Trump's, I think of the other name of the other act, where those acts are being put into place so that stable coins are properly regulated, monitored, audited, etc. I'm going to put this up because I think it's great. Can you buy tokenized oil and fertilizer stocks or short others? There is probably areas where you can buy tokenized oil on various sites. I believe MECX, is it MECX now does stock tokenization. There are a couple of others that are around the place where you can buy stocks and you can put money in and out. So yes, there are places where you can probably do that, but I don't know if fertilizer is, I don't know how that's going to work on your farm, mate. It's a bit of a challenge, that. But yes, there's probably places where you can, or buy into the companies that are producing that. That would be a good question. And what's this one here? Come on, show. I've got to click the button correctly. That's my problem. Can I get an AI agent to shear my sheep? Yeah, mate, no problems at all. I don't know how good your sheep will come out of it, but yeah, nah, we're kidding. There's always going to be jobs for people who do manual tasks. That's going to come on. And that's where the plumbers, the electricians, all that sort of, those jobs are going to get. But what's going to go in these jobs, I'll get back to you in a minute, Glenn. But what's going to go in these jobs will be the things like the receptionist, right? The person that does the filing, for instance, is not necessarily needed because it can all be done by AI agent stuck into a massive service system on the cloud. Yeah, so that job's gone. The receptionist job's gone. The secretary's job is gone because the AI agent's going to handle it. So you now need to start looking and saying, if I'm going to get a job, where am I going to go looking for a job? It's going to be in somewhere of like a bricklayer or manual labor or serving customers. And even serving customers is a bit of an issue because they've got little robots now that can come out and deliver your food. It just depends on what we want to take. Go back to this one, Glenn. What's this? Fannie Mae is going to allow BTC as collateral for home loans, expanding into other assets into the future. Now, that actually raises a really good question on BTC. So is BTC or Bitcoin going to be around with everything that's happening, right? If stable coins become the main transfer of money, what's the job of BTC? It has no contracts. It has no ability to, excuse me for a sec while I try and shut something down. No, my computer's not going to allow me to do that. Come here. Come on. I should have rebooted before I started. It's been playing up for a little bit now. Effectively, BTC doesn't have smart contracts. It doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. So where is BTC's value going to come from in this place? Well, possibly it's going to still be a unit of store, right? Where you can have money that you can shift across borders when the standard type of connection from the stable coins doesn't necessarily move. So it's sort of going to become like gold or silver, but that's not a guaranteed thing either. So that can be a bit of an issue as far as that's concerned. But stable coins, as I said, right, that's going to be the main place. That's where things will go. And that's where most AI agents will work. So, yeah, That's actually the answer that I was looking for. Thanks. I'm going to bring that up. So BT cross borders outside of government control. That's the key point for BTC, right? It can cross the borders without government control. It's the only one that, like you might have USDT, but that can be government control because it's regulated. You're going to have, say, Spain does a coin or a stable coin that's going to be controlled by their government, and that can be turned off at any time. Whereas BTC, because of the way it's set up at the moment, is totally cross borders. It's not controlled by any government or anything like that. So therefore, it has that advantage. Right. So yes. So here's one that says Flare will provide BTC, XRP, MLM, Doge, etc. with smart contract capability. That is probably more of a cross-chain. I haven't looked into Flare that much, but that's probably more of a cross-chain system. There won't be actual contracts on the BTC. The other thing about having BTC as a cross-border thing is it's still very slow, although the Lightning Network can improve that. So that one there is a bit of an issue. But let's get back to the fact that BTC might stay there, and what other coins would be worthwhile doing some sort of investment in. I see Monero written in there by Silver Fox as a privacy coin, which it is, and that is still something that can be done, right? And that one will probably stay around. Monero has been around for a very, 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 very long time. But is it going to make you a lot of money, or is it going to be something that's worth investing in? That is another big question. So what sort of things should we be looking at? I've got a little script over here that I've been working on for most of the day. So we'll get in there and have a quick look. So suggested coins that should be looked at, I think, over the next few months, whether you're purchasing them, and that's going to be Bitcoin for already the reason that I've specified. Ethereum is the other one. As much as I hate Ethereum because of its cost, but Ethereum has the most layer 2 networks on it. It's also got DeFi and smart contracts. So that's where a lot of the USD, Tether, etc. are all going to be played out in that area there. So Ethereum is another one of those network chains that's there. Solana is also one of those coins that you should look at. Now, if you purchase Solana directly, like at the level 1, anything that appears on its level 2, level 3 basis as it goes through, you've still got stocks in the main one at the bottom. Okay. Chainlink is another one because it deals with real world assets, and we talked about real world assets in another program, and how to make sure that you didn't get yourself done by assets that don't exist, and that is going to come back to when we start talking about silver. Arbitrum is another one. It does Ethereum scaling, so that helps with Ethereum's own things. Optimism, which is a layer 2 scaling system. All of these ones have something to do with it. One of the big ones, though, is BitTensor, right? Otherwise known as Teo. Teo is specifically AI network orientated. And a lot of things that happen on the Teo network will be where these AIs are formed and these AI agents are going, to my understanding. I might not be 100% correct on that. But BitTensor, Render, and the Akash network are all in these AI decentralized cloud type systems that are being brought up with GPU. Well, Render's always GPU AI compute anyway. Sorry, just to get a bit more self-comfortable here. So if we're going to be looking to invest anywhere in crypto, it needs to be looking at AI and AI agents. Now, the problem with all of these coins is us poor people who are paying millions of dollars for fuel over here really can't afford to even buy anything at the moment. I mean, literally, I know I can't. I've seen 2 increases on my house mortgage. I've got petrol that's at, $2.59 a litre or something at the moment. And we're in a situation where, what the hell? How can we even afford to do this? So that comes into its own things. The more ETH goes up, so does the transaction cost. That's 100% true. 100% true. Unfortunately, and this is where some of these other chains are smarter, because they, in fact, the layer 2 levels have their own transaction costs, and therefore those costs are a lot cheaper on that than the Ethereum network. But Ethereum is still the base network, the layer 1 that it's all traveling across. So it's worthwhile remembering that. If you're getting into the layer 1 sides of it, there's sort of guaranteed income, because those layer 1s will never be outstripped by the layer 2s, because the layer 2 works on the layer 1, if that makes any sense. So what's this one? I'll just show this. ETH is over. Is transaction crypto and nothing else? It's a transition crypto and nothing else. Not quite. It's a whole chain of blockchains. So no, I don't quite agree with you on that one, Jay. I may be wrong about that as well. So effectively speaking, no, that's the areas that I'd be looking at. If you've got any spare cash, that would be the ones that I'd be sort of buying in. Those ones that I listed off there. DeFi trading, if you wanted to look at finance, that's Hyperliquid and Thorchain are the two that are relative there. One more that I haven't got on my list, but I should mention, is the Base network, right, which is being run by Coinbase. So that's something that should also be looked at as well. Excuse me for a sec. Right. One of the things that we also need to be aware of is what is actually happening in the market at the moment. So with that, I'll stick that up there and stick me there, so you get a better picture. All right. So this is the current stage of things here, and this is the SPS market, which I just thought I would bring out for you. So this is the S&P, I should say, 500. And as you can see here, it's doing a little bit of market manipulation. This is on the weekly time frame, and if we take that out, you can see that it's actually making some pretty reasonable drops at the moment. And whether that's related to the war or not, I don't know. But if we actually take that one out and go down to monthly, this is the picture we get. So if we're following this, and this is going back from 2015, if we follow this through, you can see that we've got some drops there. So it's 1, 2, 3 months, big climb up around the COVID era, when it went nuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, then a green, and then 8, 9 months. So that was the COVID era, so we can expect that to be a case. Up in here, we can see that it's dropped off a bit, and then it climbs, and it's dropped off quite significantly down here around May, March, or April of, April of 2025, and then again here. So there's a couple of things we can see. That is that we're now in a depression here, and we should expect that depression to carry on. And when this goes down, Bitcoin does follow. It's been a bit disconnected from it. And of course, every crypto, when Bitcoin goes down, say 10%, all the altcoins tend to go down 20 to 40%, which is a real bummer. But that seems to be what's actually going on. So we might expect another couple of months, another month at least in here, maybe 2, before things go up. So if we go for 2 months, that's going to put us around June, July. And there's a lot of people who are speculating at that point that Bitcoin will be also down low and probably at its lowest point. So far, it went down to 60 thou and then bounced back up. But the estimated low or drop point, this is an estimated only, but it's probably, if you're looking to buy Bitcoin, this would be where I'd be looking, is somewhere between 58 and 60,000. Right. Worst case scenario, it might get down as low as 55, from 50 to 55, if everything goes pear-shaped really quickly. In which case, that would be when I wish I had money to buy stuff, but of course, we'll probably be all too broke to actually do that. We are talking about Australia after all. Now, part of what's not helping us in that situation is this. Let me change that to a 4 hourly to make it a bit easier for you guys to understand. All right. This is the current oil prices. What the hey? We got prices that they dropped quite significantly, and now they're climbing back up to nearly $100 a barrel. One has to ask that question. Why are we getting $100 a barrel again? Thought we've got diesel and stuff flowing through here now that should be working and should be working quite well. But the price is still going up. I don't know where we're going to go with oil, and I don't know how long it's going to take to come out. But for as long as this keeps going up, we're going to see even more price rises in our country. Don't know why, because when it was down here at $85 a barrel, they didn't drop the price at all. Not one little bit. All right, and if we go up here and we'll have a look at BTC, this is the BTC chart, which is currently ranging. I just wanted to show this. It's been ranging between these two main feeds, and at the moment it's at the bottom of this one, which means it's got two choices at the moment, whether it bounces back up or whether it's going to drop down below. So we're not quite sure which one will go in that situation. So I see some advice going through there. I should also say that anything I give you today is my personal opinion and educational only, and not financial advice, because, wow, who wants to give financial advice in this day and age? But they're still the same. So you need to monitor these charts, see what's going on. At the moment, that's 66. If that drops down to 50 in the next couple of months, I'd certainly think about buying it. I don't think it's going to go any lower than 50. One of the other things to realize about Bitcoin too, which is interesting and also scary, is that a lot of the Bitcoin miners are now switching over to become AI agents, because being a compute system for AI is probably much more profitable to them than mining Bitcoin. So there'll come a point where the Bitcoin network is going to be lower on miners, and therefore the hash rate of the Bitcoin is going to drop. And there might be a chance somewhere in there that you might be able to set up a little mining bot of your own and perhaps even get a Bitcoin or two if you're lucky. You'd have to weigh that against the exorbitant amount of electricity that it uses to run one nowadays. So that can be quite an issue. Right, the next thing that I wanted to go into, by the way, some of these, I've got some of these in here. There's Link. Let's have a look at Link. All right, so once again, slight increase. Let's stick some lines on that. Let's have a look. We've got a huge drop there, but I think we'll go from there and just scoot across the bottom. And let's do the same for up the top. Let's see what we've got from that point there. So that's a widening arc. So that's actually making a much higher range of highs and lows than I would like to see. Fortunately, the lows in this one are less than the highs. So in all fairness, it looks like it may climb up to even higher highs. So that's something. Maybe, what's this? What are you guys talking about here? I'll try that again. Maybe a mini lottery bot for BTC. Yeah, maybe get a Mac Mini and set that up. I don't know, but effectively that's that one. I think I talked about Render, which is, I think it's that one from memory. No, that's Arweave. So you can see that Arweave's had a bit of a hit. Other proof of work things like CAS, that's actually stepped up a bit, which is nice because that went a long way down, and so on. And there's Render being one of those compute AI chains. You can see that that's going up in comparison to Bitcoin. So yeah, that could be something to look at, but you need to choose these carefully, and you need to stay out of the ones that you think are not going to go anywhere. I had two that I was looking at, which I talked about, which was Lynn. If I can find Lynn. Oh, where's Lynn? Lynn, that one. And that's what Lynn's doing at the moment. Not much at all, which is not a fortunate thing for me. I bought it at an exceptionally low price, so okay on that. And Number was the other one that I was looking at, which has done a bit. Once again, these were both to do with identifying what is an AI and what is not. And just to prove I'm not AI, there's 1, 2, 3 fingers in front of my face. And most of you who've seen Brian Brown's video understand that one. But effectively, those are the ones that are actually working at the moment. There are others that are going to be around. So if you're going to start really looking into something, start looking into AI agents, where they run and who they're on. Now, last time this show was on XRP. Last time the show was on XRP, it was 2. Still is. 2 what? $2? No, XRP is not $2. XRP is currently $1.33. Right, that's the XRP right now. XRP I didn't put into that mix because I'm looking at investment / cost ratio benefits. XRP is in its field of its own because it's looking at the international banking, the transfers, that sort of government regulated system. So I didn't bring it into this chat. XRP is still something that's there, but it's not moving like it used to, and we haven't seen a lot of stuff that's coming out on XRP and how much that is. There's still the XRP army out there, of which Mark, who has decided that his missus has more control over him than I do, which is probably the right thing, right, is unable to be here tonight. So he's not going to have a chance, and he may make an appearance or he may not. I did send him a link, so we'll just have to see what goes on with that. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about is silver and gold. Right, now we all know that silver, when I can find it, which is sitting right there, current price of silver is $69.83 US. Why is silver so low when there is such a demand for silver? Well, this comes down to the way the futures work. And on further research, I still consider this fraud personally, but it's not apparently. Silver and futures. Futures or trading on the COMEX is done in paper trades. And they say they move a certain amount of paper, silver, and they basically hope nobody's going to come in and say, send me the silver, the real metal, right? But no, it's gone up this much. I'm now going to sell it, but I'll take the cash. So really, it's trading an asset the same way the banks do with loans and with money, right? They only have a certain amount of money in the bank, And what they do is they fractional lend it, which means, of course, they can choose how much of a fraction is in the paper commerce. So, and they get to, there's no limit, there's no specified amount on what that fraction can be. They just can choose to go ahead and specify what it be. It might be 400 to 1, 100 to 1, 50 to 1, right? For every 1 ounce of silver, there's 50 ounces in paper, right? And they can choose that to be whatever it is. And as long as nobody makes a claim for a whole heap of that silver, almost makes me want to be filthy stinking rich so I can just go in and buy a whole heap of that paper and then say, pay me in silver. I'd love to do that. That would be good. That would bring the whole market to a crashing heap because they wouldn't be able to fulfill the order, right? But at the moment, that's not how they work. What they do right now is they basically get up there and say, okay, yep, you bought it at this, you're selling it at that, here's the total amount in cash or in USDT or in whatever dollars, whatever format they want, but not what's in silver. And this is actually a pretty common practice. I mean, like effectively with internet, for instance, you might have a set of infrastructure pipes that go into a particular town. And in that pipe, they say, okay, we're going to allow a whole certain amount of megabytes or gigabytes of data through this pipe. And what we're going to do is split that amongst all the people in the town. And we're going to set the ratio, assuming that not everyone in the town, let's say the town's 400 people, not every one of those 400 people are going to use the internet at exactly the same time, right? So we're going to put in enough so that we can satisfactorily supply 150 people of that 400 people. And then by chance, when 200 people use it, it starts getting slow. When 250 people use it, it starts getting even slower because they haven't got the capacity to cover the full 400 people. And that's exactly the same thing they're doing on silver. They haven't got the capacity to cover the amount of paper silver they put out there, but the paper silver is what is determining the price of silver that you buy in retail, what's off the shelf, minus, plus handling and coin minting prices, etc. So there's a little bit on top of that, obviously, but that gap between the real cost of silver and the paper silver, the spot price that we see for paper silver is the spot price usually is put onto an ounce, not the real value of that ounce. So where does that leave silver and gold down the track here? At some stage, that's going to have to break. I can't see it not breaking. When the demand for silver becomes so strong, there's going to be a point where that's going to segregate so far that there's going to be a break in the system. And all it takes then is for people to go, pay me in silver, pay me in my silver, and everything will fall into a heap. So effectively, those were the areas that I wanted to touch on in this particular session. I've been going for about 35 minutes, so for me, that's not too bad. Now, while I've got you here, let's just change topics for a fraction of a second. Let me find what I'm looking for. Not that one, not that one. That one. One must ask some questions. All right. And I'll put this back up on screen and shift myself down into that corner. Right. So this was a chart that Carl brought up the other day. Notice this. We've had more deliveries of oil, etc. at this stage. And the same jet fuel is the most critical at 28 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes. But look what's going on here. We have 37 days of petrol. We have, and this is onshore. This is not coming to us. This is onshore. we have 30 days of diesel and 29 days of jet fuel. So what the hell is going on at the moment? Why are there service stations that don't have fuel? Why is this scaremongering going on? There's definitely fuel in stock onshore. So what game is the government playing here? What are they up to? What is this move? Is this a move once again just to keep fear in the hearts of those who aren't aware? We don't have a serious problem. See, it says in-country supply right here. And it specifies. Then if you want, I'll actually blow that up for you. In-country supply, 37 days, 30 days of diesel. And this is on normal usage. This is on the standard usage, not the panic buying or anything like that, but this is on the standard usage. Why are we not being told this by, well, the government is sort of saying there's no fuel crisis, but everybody's still ramping it up like there is one. The only problem we've got here is not lack of fuel, it's the damn cost of fuel. It's so damn high, and it shouldn't be. Right, here's our current stuff that we've got come in, right? This one here, which arrived, and that was diesel. And that's landed over in Western Australia. Petrol here that arrived in what looks like Adelaide. Vanguard arrival of petrol there. Another full container of diesel there. And we've got another one there of petrol coming in. We've got one halfway in the middle here, which is expected to arrive in 2.5 days' time. Mind you, sailing a boat through the middle of the Sahara Desert, find that might be really interesting. Sorry, couldn't resist that. But effectively, there's not a major scare. There's nothing that's really worrying here, or should be worried here. So why is it that we're being charged so much money? It makes no sense. And I think people are starting to wake up to that, which is probably why things that happened in South Australia happened in South Australia. Dan, I've already got here. I've got to show this one. Dan most listened to the bullshit. Yeah, most people are. And that's half the problem. There's not critical thinking is not part of that situation. And I'm not sure what a hypersonic missile has to do with it, but we're a bit short of a hypersonic missile for my liking. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Don't know what that one's about, Tom. You might want to fill me in a bit more on that. Maybe I missed something further up. Time for everyone to put in an order with Tim Dwyer, hydrogen setup. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's a few truck drivers that will probably be thinking about that coming on now, considering the amount of savings that could bring in. I should actually ring Tim and ask him if that's been promoted. And if not, if you know truck drivers out there, maybe it's a good idea. Send them to h2-fuelsave.com and get them to have a look out. Okay, so that was thinking ahead. What of hypersonic missiles? Yeah, okay. Still don't understand that. I must have missed something in the chat further up. For Albo's aeroplane, yep. Okay, so this one here, which was silver's overvalued. Dan, I think, yes, it was a bit of pump and dump, but is it going to stay dumped? No, I don't think so. I think that's going to go back up because there will come a time where they do have to marry up the actual costs that people are going to be paying for the silver because the people digging it out of the ground, the people making it, putting it into bars, the real stuff are going to start charging more for that. And the paper price will have to follow or segregate that much that it'll break the market. So that's one thing to think of. But yeah, an interesting thought. And I believe I can trying something here. No, that didn't work. That's all right. So yeah. All right. Getting back to whatever, we have people are starting to wake up. People are starting to see things. The news of that sort of showed up on South Australian election, where it looks like One Nation's so-called protest vote, which isn't really a protest vote. It's just a whole heap of people saying we've had enough, and we understand that this is not the case, and there are policies in place, and there are things, and the ideas that are specified by One Nation, by the ordinary people, are right, and that's moving forward. And hopefully a lot more people will get behind that and give them at least a chance to prove it, because you've got to have to understand that over here, even though it's been a fantastic win for One Nation's party, and it looks like 3 full people in the upper house, 4 full seats in the lower house for a minor party. That's historical, right? The fact that they've done that. But what are they going to be doing over the next 4 years other than yelling and shouting at the Labor people? That's all they're going to be able to do is yell and shout, because there's not enough power yet for them to be able to do anything. Labor's going to outclass them. Any bill they put forward, Labor will outvote if it's no good, or if they think it's no good. The Australian people might think it's bloody excellent, but the Labor people might say, no, we're not doing that. And they've got the numbers in the lower house. They've got the numbers in the upper house. So effectively, both the Libs and One Nation are effectively squashed, because they do not have enough numbers to even push a bill through. It's just not going to happen. All they can do is call out what Labor is doing as to whether it's right or wrong. So people need to understand that, right? And it's also a really good chance for the lower house reps in One Nation to get a lay of the land and to learn how politics works in South Australia. And hopefully they'll be able to get through that with the assistance of Corey Bernardi and move forward with that with proper teaching. But we will just see. So don't expect a lot of changes here. Where we might see them is in Victoria, if enough people stand up and be counted, and they'll need to have a fairly high primary count to pull that off, because I can guarantee you that Labor's going to put them last, and a lot of the other parties like Greens will put them last. And all that tells you is that they're shit scared that some other party might come up and do a damn sight better job than they have, and the sitting opposition has done for the last many, many years. Anyway, so I got into a little politics there. And what's this one, Tom? What's this you're saying? Say the facts like Malcolm Roberts. Okay, there's lots of facts that Malcolm Roberts brings out. I love him. Actually, what I would mind seeing personally, just as in my own opinion, I'd love to see Gerard Rennick in the system. Even if he won it as a separate in his own party and they formed a coalition and he could be treasurer, because I reckon he would kill it. Absolutely kill it, as far as that's concerned. But once again, people have got to get their egos out of the way, and that's on either side, One Nation and also any other party. The same as the freedom fighters need to get their egos out of the way and start combining together to be a substantial force. And there's a lot of freedom people out there, but they seem to want to shoot each other in the foot. So in that case, maybe rethink. What are you doing this for? Your personal gratification or for trying to save this country? Either way, your choice. All right. So with that, I do want to raise the fact that most of the Victorians who may have watched this program or Carl's programs or any of the other programs, we thank you for the times that you were able to purchase the Good Samaritan tickets. Unfortunately, you cannot now, and that is quite obvious where most of the money was coming from. Victoria had more money than I thought. So the Donkey Sanctuary, that ticket is still going. You can buy them at merch.vofhq. It's there. We've got 219 tickets sold. We're going to try and get it up to 750 so we can give them one last round of funding. After that point, we will actually probably stop the lottery, because even if we decided to give away silver, because supposedly the charity, which is a recognised federal charity, is not registered in Victoria, so therefore they can't sell tickets to it because the charity is not registered. Victoria, you guys need to change some things, seriously. Okay? What's this one? Banned grifting. Victoria banned grifting. Yeah, they don't want you to have extra money. They don't want you to give that money away to someone else or a charity that's, supporting donkeys or anything like that. So as far as I'm concerned, it is what it is for Victoria. All right. Any questions? Chuck them in the chat now. Otherwise, I'm going to pack it up for the night. I'm not guaranteeing there's going to be one in a fortnight. There may or there may not be. It depends on what happens. There's not much in the financial market that's really moving, but I will be investigating a few AI client type stuff. And if I find something, I might jump on for a half an hour on a Saturday or a Sunday night and just give you a quick rundown of what I see and whether it might or might not be anything of purpose, understanding that I have other things I have to deal with my place, the Freedom Broadcasting Network channel. We've got stuff that's going there. Got to get Truth Seekers on board with that hat coming along. And if you get a chance, have a look at Truth Seekers. They've got their Aussie Truth channel up and running on Rumble. So the girls are having a bit of a chat there on basic things. I haven't had a chance to watch the other one yet, and I'll be doing that later tonight. So I'll do what I can to come on here, but there'll be some more stuff happening on Real Talk with Vince. I'm hoping to do an after party for some of the election candidates. Also get some interviews with the current sitting members or soon to be sitting members from One Nation. So Rebecca Hewitt, she owes me one, so I'm hoping that'll come through. And King Duck, when the fact, yeah, the answer to that one, mate, is probably never. If the government have their way. I'm not quite there at retirement age yet. I'm sort of semi-retired because my health condition forces that. Doesn't mean that I'm retired with money. It just means that I am not able to work properly. I can do some desk work here, but as you see, I missed Saturday night because my body said I needed to sleep, so I slept. And that's just the way that works. And not with my XRP bags. Well, you never know. It might get up to the $750 that it's been supposedly going to. You're not losing any money by hanging on to them at the moment, especially if you manage to buy them at 70 cents. You're still above. So, you never know, mate. You never know. And the answer to your question, King Duck, was 85. Right. Don't be surprised that they don't change it to 85 either. So, yeah, you never know. And yes, it is. Everyone keeps telling me to look after myself, so I try to. I'm on a regime of medication that helps with that. But yeah, well, as far as the government's concerned, not being able to walk 100 yards down the road and suffer bad angina, but that's not disabled. So, okay, fair enough. That's this one, $63 USD makes me a millionaire. How do you figure that out, Count? I've got to know that secret. Oh, if it was XRP. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, if it gets to $750 a coin. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It's unfortunate. I've never seen anything go that high, but the minute it started getting somewhere around that figure, I'd be out. Actually, I really only need to be out at around 102,000 so I can pay off my house. That would do me. Not that I've got enough crypto left to make 102,000 nowadays, because I've had to support it, use it to live on. Anyway, all right, people. So, as I said, this will probably be the last official show, but if I do have other stuff, I'll jump on and we'll do a short invite and let you know a little bit beforehand that it's coming on so you can tune in or watch back later. At this stage, there's not a lot happening in the crypto field that's worth even talking about. But as we investigate some of these AI chats and the various groups in there, we might be able to pull up a show and just talk about a specific one or whatever that looks like it might be promising, should you be able to rub a few shekels together to actually be able to get out there and do that. In the meantime, for those of you who are politically minded, right, we need to keep talking to the Australian people. They're hurting hard, and they need to realise that this is being done by both sides of the government that was in. And in all fairness, as much as I love independence, and I ran as one, an independent sitting in a chamber doesn't have much power unless it teams up with some other independents. And seeing we can't get any more than about 4 independents in, that's here in South Australia, if they're smart enough to team up with either the Libs or with One Nation, then they've got a little bit of power, but still not. So what we need is a party that is probably going to not suit us 100%, but a damn sight closer to what we are, and go out and really knock the arse end out of these politicians that don't listen to us. I was actually listening to a lady from Victoria, and she said, clearly said that that the Liberal Labor is the only ones that can get into power and take Labor out. And I thought to myself, how conceited is that? The Labor are the only ones that can do it? That is a load of crap. And, you know, all it takes is for the people to say, nah, that's not correct, and vote for another full-on party. It can be any party that they like. It could be the Greens if they wanted to destroy the world, but they could do that and put them in power. There are plenty of other options. Anyway, you use language of lottery. What about a raffle? Will that work? No, it still falls under the same bloody raffles, lotteries, etc. It still falls under the same legislation inside Victoria, which is unfortunate. They did send me a whole letter and they explained the 2 areas that were relative to this. One being that we were offering a cash prize, which is a no-no in Victoria. You cannot offer a cash prize. The second was that if it's going to a registered or like a registered organisation, well, we do a percentage of this lottery goes to the Donkey Sanctuary. And some of that other money that's left over for running it and getting it set up, etc., helps pay our bills to keep us online with hosting costs and, you know, streaming like what I'm doing here, which I pay out of my own pocket at the moment. We do that. But in Victoria, every cent from the lottery's got to land into the Donkey Sanctuary's money box. Every cent. So it actually has to go directly into their bank account. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is that they don't recognise the Donkey Sanctuary in Victoria as a legit non-for-profit organisation because it's not registered with them in Victoria. It's like, yeah, you just want your money. That's all you want. It's just bullshit. So that's why Victorians can't do it. And it's all courtesy of some lowlife who decided to report us for apparently breaking the law, which we didn't know we were breaking, considering in South Australia, where we're actually basing the lottery from, my home address, right, that doesn't exist, right? I'm following South Australian laws. So, yeah, interesting. Well, once again, yes, we could offer bullion. So we could do bullion, we could do silver, we could do T-shirts, we could do any sort of prizes we wanted, but we still run into the problem, A, all the funds must land in the non-for-profits bank, and B, the Donkey Sanctuary is not registered as a non-for-profit organisation or charity organisation in Victoria. So we still have those two issues. And I didn't even bother to ask how much it would cost to become a registered charity in Victoria when it's already a registered charity registered in Australia. So, you know, one law for them and one law for everybody else. So anyway, either or, once this Donkey Sanctuary one is finished, we will find other ways to help support the Donkey Sanctuary and other. We did have other non-for-profits that we were going to support, but that runs into the same boat now, so we can't do that either. Nothing like destroying people's ability to help other people. So, Victoria, vote your government out, change some bloody rules, and let people in Australia help other people in Australia. Anyway, sorry, me just having a bit of a shot. Guys, thank you very much for this last show. I thank you for those who have watched and for the chats. It's been really good. Keep your eyes open. Keep your ears to the ground. If you see anything or hear anything, you can always send me an email, vince@fbnmedia.online or vince@vofhq.com. And if you've got something that you think might be good, send me an email and I'll dive into it and have a look. Outside of that, Silver Fox, now that you're actually here, mate, I do need you to ring me. Please do that. Okay? You've got my number. What do we got? I wonder if that is inconsistent with Section 92 of the Constitution as a non-discrimination norm. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But I haven't got $250,000 to take it to the High Court. So that doesn't help. Yes, if you are staying in crypto, by all means, look at the dip, tear yourself in, buy as it's dropping down, but make sure you're buying blue chip type things that isn't going to disappear. Out of the, how many have we got? I'll have a quick look. I'm sure I've got that chart here somewhere. Nope, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. Too many windows. Try over here. Yeah, that's the one. Let's go there, go up here. Out of the 17,957 possible coins and tokens that you can buy, right, not all of them are going to survive. Only a few big ones will. So be careful what you choose. All right, guys, from that, I'm going to leave it with you. Thank you very much. Good night. Keep the faith, live with your family, be happy, and at this stage, protect yourself at all costs. Cheers all.